So let's see how it shoots. Totally uncapped ramp. There is something very nice about old Eclipse stuff with how fast they used to be back in the, no rate of fire cap days. So this here is a Vicious Ego 10. This thing has seen a lot. I purchased this as part of a bundle for the cheap paintball marker of the week series I was running, but this one was certainly not cheap. I paid a few $100s for this. I think I paid $1,300 for the bundle, but I think this was like $600 more, which I feel like I may have overpaid. But the rest of the bundle checked out. You know, it didn't come with the original packaging, but it did come with this Shaft 4. But I'm ready to put this thing on eBay now that I've played with it, so I need to clean her up because that's kind of how I operate. So, like I said, this thing has seen some abuse. It looks like this reg must have had a leak or something, and the previous owner put it in a vise or something to get it opened up, because this is all chewed up. That's all chewed up. There's a nice gouge there, and there's another one on this side, and same thing here. These are all clearly tool marks. Like, that didn't happen from playing with it, but this thing does look nice. As someone that doesn't particularly care for the color red, I do think this looks half decent. But it worked flawlessly. He said it had been sitting a while, and if you've watched any of my videos, you know I don't care if things have sat. I will put air and paint in them and see what happens. Like, I always take a backup marker with me. I never go out with just one. Well, I'll go out on the field with one, but I take more than one with me to any given event, partially because I'm this kind of stupid. But let's go ahead and get this thing torn down a little bit, and we can go from there. Basically, it's snowing right now, so I have nothing else to do. I need to clean this up. We need to make some content, and I would like to get this sold. So it's just a perfect storm. Plus, the other projects, like this one, are currently on hold because I'm waiting for things, tools, parts, etc. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this ram cap off. I'm going to try to get this cleaned up a little bit, get some of the first strike awfulness out of here. Playing with the first strikes is always a challenge. Like, my brother and I primarily play big games now. We do a little airball here and there, but for the most part, it's big games, scenario games, stuff like that. It's just more fun to us. So this actually did have 2 cases go through it completely flawlessly. And to be totally honest, I'm not surprised. Oh yeah, I didn't even clean this up before I took it out, so you can see there was broken paint in there already, and it just ran. Like, the Ego series in my mind is the AK-47 equivalent of a paintball marker. They just work, and I think it shows because they have taken over the market for the most part. And we'll go ahead and pop the ram out. So I did some digging on the Facebook, and they're like, oh, they put a little bumper on there. But you can see this has a lot of dirty grease in it. It's been a while since this was actually cleaned up. I think this is the Zik 2 ram, I believe, and this is the Cure 3 or Cure 4 bolt. It had that little notch in there to help with chopping and everything. But anyway, back when I was playing regularly, it was 2011. 2011 was the last season I played regularly. The last time I played at all was 2012. I played one big game at OACC, and that was the last time I played until this year. But when I was still playing, like, Eclipse was really taking over. I didn't love the way they did things, but I had respect for the product they were putting out. And that is honestly the best way I could put it. So what I mean by that is, to me it felt like, well, this isn't a complaint, this is an observation, but to me it felt like Eclipse was the first company to come in and say, like, okay, we make paintball markers. This market is super limited. Our total market cap is going to be small. What can we do to maximize that? And I think they nailed it. And as much as I was a Bob Long fanboy, and I still love the things he did, Eclipse ran their show very differently back then. Just in the sense that every year there was a new Eclipse model, right? Like every year you go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, etc., all the way up to whenever they switched to the naming convention. A new one came out every year. And you could predict it, and they would lose value as you would expect. Like they were almost like a car where you could buy it brand new and you would lose 50% of the value in the first year, and that's just how it was. But the thing is, they worked, and they were super fast, and in like the uncapped days, they just ripped. There is old shooting videos that I have of my old egos and some of the other stuff I had that I took on trades, and there was nothing that ripped the way they did. They had such a shorter assembly, like a shorter firing assembly, because this is how it sits in the marker, compared to a Bob Long that would be positioned further back with a longer bolt, and that, they had more barrel rise, more kick because of the way they set up their upper and lower tubes, but they were super fast, combined with the QEV manifolds and everything that they did on the other markers. Like, it was truly a better combination, but that ultimately led them to have a lot of success, because I almost look at it as like they almost took the Audi approach or like the BMW approach, where, okay, this is we'll call this the Audi S4, right? This is the genuine performance model. Actually, this feels like a wrong comparison. This is a Camaro SS. This is the performance model as it is. This is how we intend the car to be. It has all the features we want the car to have. However, if you want something that looks the part, maybe doesn't have all the other features you want, they would sell you an E-Tech 3, which would be your V6 Camaro or your Camaro LT, whatever the trim level is now. And, it would have fewer features. Like, I don't think, this doesn't have the cure bolt. I bet this doesn't have the Zit kit, but you could always upgrade it, similarly to how you can upgrade a Camaro. And then they capitalized on that too, kind of showing like, okay, we know we could do better, so let's release the SL series, right? They had the SL74, the SL8R, the SL94, I think was the other one. And that continued on. That was your ZL1 or your 1LE. Like, it was, a step up from the base, but it retained value better because it was more exclusive and it had more features. And same thing, those upgrades that the higher trims had could go down to the lower trims. And it also kind of felt like they used that model to like test new features. It always felt like the E-Tech was the previous generation, because it felt like, this is all speculation. These are my observations, not anything that Eclipse says they did. But it's what I've observed. It was like they grouped their models in 2-year increments. It was like, the Ego 8 and 9, 10 and 11, etc., etc. The E-Tech was the previous generation. Ego, little different milling, fewer features, cheaper price, but they probably had, from a manufacturing standpoint, they probably had the body extrusions ready to go. They just milled them as needed, made the different eye covers, and they could ship it, and they could continue to get a quantity discount or an economies of scale discount on more extrusions, more grip frames, and just sell markers. Where Bob Long, as much as I loved his products, like, here's the Vice, here's the Protege. They're the same gun. That was your Camaro and your Camaro SS. Same idea. You could upgrade it, but he ran that same model for a while. Same thing, like Mark 6, Mark 7. The Closer, which was just a different milling. The Rapper. The Edge, the Mark Edge that I had years ago, right? They were all just different millings of the same thing, which was cool, but it also helped them hold value better on top of being cheaper, right? A Vice was $750, and Ego 8, when they first came out, was like $1,200. It was almost half the price for the Vice, for a marker that did just as well, and in my opinion, looked way cooler. And then on top of that, retained its value better, but Eclipse was like, hey, colors, special editions, whatever. So anyway, I'm rambling. I am very happy to see that Planet Eclipse has succeeded as well as they have. I think they took a very different approach, and we can leave it at that. Their approach worked. Dye also seemed like they succeeded pretty well, minus their personal activities. But I know Dye was also kind of different in the sense that they're an aerospace company that made paintball equipment as a side project, if my understanding is correct. Eclipse, as far as I know, is a standalone paintball company. And I think what they did was the right move to make that a profitable and sustainable business venture. Although it does kind of suck for us because we lose out on resale value and stuff like that because they pump these markers out like crazy. And I mean, Smart Parts does the same thing with the Lux and the shockers and everything. This guy cut these. I mean, these grips are worn. Like you can see, somebody put a lot of cases of paint through this thing. But cutting the grips, don't really get what the goal was there. I feel like I'm gonna have to pull this trigger out to clean it, and that's gonna be annoying. And even like you can see in that top tube, there is just film of old dirty paint. And like I said, 2 cases went through this thing. I did not skip a single beat. There was not a single hiccup. There was nothing, not a single problem. What I am curious though, I am still working on getting my Ego 8 working correctly. I'm waiting on parts for that. One thing people may find if they watch a lot of my videos, they are very sporadic in the sense that like I may work on 4 different guns in a 2-day period, film a bunch of content, maybe not finish anything, and then piece it together later, and like they kind of just fall into place as they fall into place, and they get posted in whatever schedule I feel is appropriate. They're not always chronological. So we do have an E-Tech, an Ego 8, and an Ego 10 here all at the same time. Do I have to drop the grip frame to take the trigger out? That's going to be a pain. I may have to get some Q-tips and see. Let's go ahead and clean this up. I want to take the feed neck off, but I don't want to take the feed neck off. I guess, actually, Eclipse being the best designed British thing ever, unlike my Lotus or a Jaguar or any of the other British cars, that may not actually be a big deal. I could be wrong. Come on. I'm giving it the old wiggle and pull. I don't want to scratch anything since it is about to be for sale. If anyone's interested, it would probably be on eBay, but send me a message, leave me a comment, whichever, and we can talk about it off of eBay. Let's see. Come on. That really does not want to come off of there. I also think there is a whole bunch of dried up paint in there, which is not going to help in the slightest. So can I spread this a little bit? Maybe get that out. Come on. Alright, yeah, we're just gonna have to clean up around that because there's no way that's coming off. So even though it should, there's some kind of adhesive there. Finger down in there, clean that up. I may pull the regs out and just clean them up, throw some fresh lube on them and go. You can look down that down the breech and see just the amount of paint that's gone through this thing with a dirty bolt in there, just tearing it all up, ripping and tearing. All right, I'm gonna go grab some Q-tips and see if we can't clean that up and maybe get in there a little better. The Q-tip worked a little better than I thought. But as you can see, this paint is everywhere. We weren't even shooting yellow at this event last weekend, so this is all from before my ownership, really. It's kind of crazy, but whatever will you do. Let's go ahead and put that Allen back in for the feed neck. I'm a little nervous to take that high pressure regulator apart just because it clearly had a struggle at one point in its life and it may struggle again. Who knows who hawk-handed that thing back together, what kind of crazy tools were used since it was already scratched, etc., etc. I was thinking about it while I was walking in the house. We may save the Ego 8 to Ego 10 comparison for later. So anyway, let's pop the eye covers off, because I have a feeling they're dirty too. Based on how dirty everything else is, let's take a look. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Also interesting, gloss anodizing on the inside, matte on the outside, or dust as the paintball crowd likes to call it. See if I can pop this eye out. In. Put the eye cover back on. Now there is already a shooting video for this marker up. I put it on NXL full auto and I shot it and remembered exactly why these things were so insane back in the day. Like, they just had, like I said, truly unprecedented speed. Back when, you know, uncapped was allowed. Yeah, we'll tighten these down. I may have to see if I can get a set of grips for it, just because I kind of treat markers the way I treat cars, where, like, if you can spend a little bit of money to make it more presentable and just look better and less abused, you generally will get more money for it, and that's obviously the goal when you're selling stuff. So, ow. The Outcast build took my finger out. You will see that in a later video, but yeah, not fun. I also should have the Die Matrix showcase dropping soon, where I compared all, I think 6 die markers that I had here at the time. I filmed that a few weeks ago. Haven't had a chance to post it yet. Let's pop that eye cover out. Basically just going through, you know, the PM5 I have, or PM4. I think it's PM4. I don't remember. Might be PM5. The M3 Plus, the DSR Plus. I have a lot of die stuff here at the moment. DM12. I had a Proto Matrix, Rail, a couple other random things. So, you know, I just went through all of it just to kind of show people what's changed over the years. You know, ultimately PM5 did come out 20 years ago. Even that this Ego 10 is 15 years old. This is older than the Intimidators I used to mess with were when I was messing with them way back in the day. Is that a mini butt connector? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to touch these too hard. And that one eye has definitely been pinched before. That's not good. But go ahead, get that back in place. Get that back on. I should have done this with the grips on, or grips off. Is this the right orientation? Oh, I was right the first time. That's better. Screw. Yeah, when this did show up, it had one small issue, and that was just that the macro line was far too long. Like, it was almost, the fitting was 180 out from here, and still like arced way down. I don't know if the person bought it and didn't have scissors or something, or like a pair of wire cutters to cut it. But yeah, it was kind of weird to me. Let's get some of that debris out of there. Someone commented on one of my other videos when I said the phrase debris, and they're like, the word is debris. Like, yeah, dude, I know. Like, I know that. I appreciate it, though. I could use detritus instead, or foreign particles. So let's just pop this out, and see just how they look on the inside. If they're dirty, I'll do the high pressure regulator. If not, we're just gonna send it. Spring, shim stack, come on. I actually think that looks good. It's nice and oily. I think this is all Eclipse oil, and there's not any like real grease in here. So that probably explains a lot. Oh, good. Put that back on. And you know, we could take the regulator off. We could pop the valve out, but I don't think we need to go that deep. Just a little tear down. A maintenance cleaning, basically, not a full service breakdown, because I genuinely don't think we need that. Let's see. I will put a little bit of something on this bolt here, or this this is good now. It's a little bit on the ram. That's the word I can't think of right now. Go ahead, put that a little bit in there. Make sure no dirt got stuck in my new grease. Slide that in. As you can hear, nice and smooth. That is the goal. It's nice and smooth. Put the ram cap back in. But even the other thing that was always nice about the Eclipse stuff, it is so light. Like, the full setup that I had this weekend with this thing was super light. I always wish I need to buy a scale for these videos. I really do. But it was light enough that I genuinely, when I play with the M3 Plus that I use most of the time, I genuinely use it and think, wow, this is so light. But then I used this for a day and realized that I was wrong. All right, what's that there? Let's go ahead and air this guy up and see what it does. The moment of truth. Well, it's still got a little macro line leak, just a little baby one. See if I can find a couple balls, and we'll shoot them out in the snow. I don't know what time it is, and I can only find 2 dirty balls. But and one popped out. But hey, it works. Ooh, I found it. All right, that's what I'm saying about the Ego 10. It can shoot literally whatever you give it. Let's see if I can hit my trash can. Success. Thanks for watching. I will see all of you next time, hopefully, for more mindless content.